Well, Tolkien Fanatics, here I am, back once again with another Middle-earth strategy battle game video, and today I'm talking about what went down this past Saturday, June 12th at Atlantic City Open. So, like I said in my preview video, I was driving up to New Jersey for the Atlantic City Open, hosted by John Sigsbee, and the event itself was put on by Frontline Gaming. If you haven't heard of them, go check them out. That is the gaming mat company. And I think they also sell miniature models as well. Don't quote me on that, though. I did see some miniature models for sale at a very small, albeit small, very small vendor at the event. But it was a fun event. I'm not going to lie. I think John did a good job. It was the first event that was being done, I think, for the Atlantic Open. So I think this is the first time Frontline Gaming has done it. And that's what I heard. Like I talked about, it was at the Harrah's Atlantic City Resort and Casino. And I will say this, holy crap. Never been to a casino before. And I knew this place was big going in because I had done my research and looked it up. But it's one of those things where you don't realize like the magnitude of something until you walk in there and you're just like, damn, this is huge. My wife was instantly lost the second we walked in the door. Thankfully, I know how to follow signs, so I was able to help navigate us around without getting too god awful lost. So I'm going to go over the three scenarios that we played in the 3 rounds, who I played, and how it went. So round one was an objective-based scenario. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull out my book so I can tell you which pool it was from, because there's two objectives. There's hold objectives, and then it's just objectives. So it's pool 3, objective scenario. We had the option for seize the prize, destroy the supplies, and retrieval. And we got seize the prize. So I was like, cool, seize the prize. I like seize the prize. I got challenged by my buddy Mike Parker, who has been on the channel before. We talked for several hours about the hobby in general, and he was actually the one who invited me to Atlantic City Open. So, Mike, hopefully you're watching this. You were the catalyst behind Atlantic City Open. Congratulations on that. I know you're very proud of yourself for dragging me all the way up there. I will say this also as a side note, traffic. If I ever go that way again, which I definitely would like to, because I would like to at least visit Harrah's again in the future. My wife wanted to play the penny slots and never got the chance to because of traffic. Should have been a 9.5 hour drive. I figured 10.5, maybe 11 with some traffic. No, it was 14 freaking hours. I left my house at 6 a.m. and I didn't get to the hotel until 8 p.m. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you northerners can't drive in the rain worth your lives. Literally, worth your lives. Because there were accidents the entire way. I got past Petersburg, Virginia, and from there on out, my Google Maps was red. Didn't matter what route I looked at, red. Accidents everywhere. So a little bit of rain and y'all freak out. That's okay. Y'all can say the same thing. A little bit of snow down here, we go berserk. Of course, I actually know how to drive in snow because my parents taught me how to. But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to bitch about the traffic a little bit. That was a downside because my whole goal for Friday when on the drive up was to get there, have some fun, walk around, see all the different games, the different tables, play some of those slots myself, and then hit up blackjack. Well, that didn't happen. We got there tired, cranky, stiff as all get out. Thank God for Mike and Joe. They were there. Not Joe Keller, but Joe. I can't remember your last name. Actually, I know your last name, Joe. I just can't say it. Poxlater, I think is how you pronounce it. But I know he just goes by Joe Pox. But the two of them, they hit us up. They're like, hey, we're getting some Vietnamese food. Come, or I think it might have been Korean. I don't know. It was sushi. I got duck. So whatever Asian culture over there does duck, I got duck. It was good. Then we just went back and kicked it, had a few beers, and just chit-chatted for a couple hours until Robert Loader got there, and the three of us, we all, well, I guess 4 of us because my wife was involved too. Sorry, Tracy. we just kind of kicked it and chilled for a while. I mean, we had some fun, went down, hit some blackjack tables up. I made $180 and then proceeded to lose it. So it be what it be. But it was a good evening, all being said and done. I know you guys don't care, but this is just my event, my experience. So round one, like I said, John was pretty laid back about it. Like Mike's like, "Can I challenge?" And John's like, "Why? Who do you want to challenge?" And Mike's like, "This bofo." And I'm like, "Damn it, man! Come on now. Why do you want to challenge me?" He's like, "Cause we ain't never played, and I want to see how good you are." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not good, so that's why I TO things and I don't play in events because I'm not good." He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put that to the test." So of course he's playing Angmar against my Courage 2, Courage 3 Wildman. Thankfully I had a few guys that could, beat the terror bubble that is Angmar. But it was a good game. So we ended up with Caesar Prize. He was playing with Gulavar. I had a couple of Crabine. We made a gentleman's agreement beforehand not to go after the prize with either of our flyers. And I was like, cool, let's do it. Let's just play this game then. That's going to be fun. We're going to actually have a good old, bash fest. Because usually Caesar Prize is like whoever can sprint up there ahead of their troops, grab the prize, and then figure a way to bubble wrap them and protect it the rest of the way. And usually cavalry or flyers do that. But in this case, we both just agreed, no, we're not going to go after it with flyers. Let's just play the game, have some fun. Drink a couple beers, just kill it. So we get going, get into it. He moves his models up. I move my models up. He gets to the objective first. First turn, 3 guys trying to get it, no dice. Doesn't get any of them. I was like, cool, that works for me. So, well, I guess it's technically the second turn, but whatever. So I get up there, and then I get into combat. So I get priority, get into combat. Now, the problem with Angmar, since they're cap-strapped army, he doesn't have the ability to call a lot of heroics. I think his only points of might in his army, because he had Gulavar, a Shade, and who was it? Is it the Tainted? No, the Shade does a -1. I don't remember. I think he had another hero, but I can't remember who it was. Oh, yeah, bar rights. He had a couple of bar rights. They don't have any points of might. So he had, very little might compared to me. I had 12 to his 3. So I get up there, and I charge in, and I have Thryden standing on top of the objective. Well, of course, he can't dig it up because he's cavalry, because I have him mounted, naturally. So I chose that turn to do a couple heroics to try and clear the area. I did one with Thryden, one with Goroff. And I cleared the area a little bit so that next turn I can get a couple infantry models in there. And that's exactly what I do. Get a couple infantry models in there, dig up the prize on the first guy. Just had to spend a turn protecting that guy so I could go ahead and hand it off, I figured, at that point to Goroff. So let's move back a turn. Goroff, who I called the heroic movement, who I called the heroic combat with, he's got the Shade up, of course. The Shade's popped. -1 to my dice roll. Frickin' Goroff rolls a 4 high on his 3 dice, and naturally he throws a 6. And I'm like, son of a bitch. It's going to be one of those games, ain't it? So I do have a banner reroll one of my other dice. Of course, I banner rerolled a 2 to a frickin' 2. Or, no, I'm sorry. I banner rerolled a 2 to a 5. So it's a 4. And I'm sitting there going, well, shit. I have to spend my 2 points of might. I'm fighting, at that point, 3 guys, 2 in base contact with spear support. So 3 guys, strength 3, going after Goroff. Or not, I'm sorry, not Goroff. Thryden. I have a very good chance of dying right then and there. And I'm like, it's my leader. I really don't want to give up VPs this early in the game, even on a lucky dice roll. Shit, I gotta spend the night. So I burnt my last 2 points of might. So literally first turn of combat, Thryden is tapped out of might. But that's typical. All my big heroes, that's what always happens to me. They always botch it. They always screw me over. I never do get much success with my quote-unquote big heroes, which Thryden is far from it. That's something I'll talk about in a little bit. But moving on, I do use the 2 points of might on the 5. That gets modded down to a 4, then mighted back up to a 6. Do kill the 2 guys, roll into the third guy, third or fourth guy, killed him. I think it was one other guy. So 15 points worth of might to kill 3 guys. Whoop-de-frickin-do. But it did clear a spot, and the next turn I was able to pick up the objective, the jewel, with one of my infantry models, which is great. So in that turn, I had priority, got all the charges off, and I decided to call my war cry. And the war cry is the one where you do +1 to wound to the enemy with anybody that's within 12 inches of Trident. So I was like, great, let's do this. So, of course, my battle line is long because 12 inches is a 24-inch diameter. I start on the side far away from the shade where, of course, I don't have any banners over there, but I do have a lot of guys stacked up on some large. He had like 4 or 5 wild wargs just running around. So I had a number of guys just stacked up, and I had Goff and Frida particularly over there, and I had them stacked up against like one each with several supports. That way I could call some heroic combats and get in and around and do some traps. So, of course, my heroic combats went very well with those two guys. Unfortunately, not so well for a lot of other combats where I'm not getting -1 to my dice roll from the shade. So, on a side where I was hoping to do a lot of damage and hopefully just kind of swing around the backside and start picking off his Spectres and his Barrites, I really only got about 50% of the kills I was hoping. So you don't expect to win every single fight and kill everything, but my goal for that side was to get, I think, 8 kills in the matchups I had. That includes the heroic combats. Get the 1 or 2 kills, the 2 kills with the 2 heroes in those individual combats, and then roll them into 2 or 3 more guys or whatever to pick up 2 or 3 more kills, whatever need to be done. Because Gorolf and Freda can really kill some stuff if you got some supports. I mean, I had some Huskarls in combat that way specifically, so I could send Frida into combat and then get a support with the Huskarl. So you're talking 3 dice per fight. Yeah, and Gorolf, of course, being 3 attack base is amazing. He had a Huskarl as well. So I was hoping to get at least like 5 kills with those 2 and then 3 others. So that all being said, I think I only got 4 kills. The initial combats were successful. Frida failed to kill in her second combat, and Gorolf was successful, but only managed to kill 1 of the 2 guys I charged him into. And that's with +1s to wound, which is really sad because with Gorolf in particular being strength 5 against his defense 5 guys, I'm wounding on 3s. And that second round of combats where I'm like, yeah, I just need 2 3s or better to kill these guys, and I rolled like a 5 and then like a 2 and a 1. And I'm like, I really don't feel like spending a second point of might this turn just to get another kill. Because I was already tapped with Trident. And now at this point, I had been holding Gullivar down with some Huskarls and Wildmen within the 6-inch terror bubble of the Wildman Oathmaker. But he had been doing some heroic combats and was really tearing up my right flank where that terror bubble was at. Or fearless bubble, I should say. So I knew I was going to be lasting long, and I needed to have the extra points of might. That way, come the next turn and beyond, I would be able to challenge, if he decided to do a movement with Gullivar for the last time or not. Which, of course, Angmar really doesn't care. They don't really want to move. They want to make you move into them. So, long story short, game went well. I was able to hand the jewel off to Thriden. Resisted several paralyzed attempts against Thriden and Frida. Unfortunately, like I said, Thriden did what Thriden does and botched the ever-living hell out of half his attacks and dual rolls. And because of this, he took a wound with like 2 turns left in the game. And that wound ended up being costly. So at this point, I've given up TP or VPs. I'm sorry, not TPs. VPs to my opponent because my leader has been wounded. And I had achieved the prize. So we were looking at like a 3-1 victory, which isn't bad, all said and done, but I was definitely hoping to get a little better. That is a major victory by their standards because they were doing the double your opponent's victory points in order to get max major win. So next turn comes and I break him, which is great for me because now I'm going to have to force him to do terror checks. But, of course, I think Gullivar is a hero of legend. Don't quote me on that. Either way, he was broken, I was not, and I had the objective. So I was sitting on a 6-1 victory. Excuse me. And I'm like, sweet, this is going my way great. So we get told, hey, 10 minutes left, last turn. We get into the next turn, and I'm like, all right, well, Thryden, on the final turn before that, Thryden got paralyzed, which sucked. Because when you're paralyzed, you go prone, you automatically lose all fights, and of course, since you're prone, you're trapped. And I'm just like, shit. I had turned his 2 points of will into 3 because I had successfully passed one of his resist tests or something like that earlier on, which was useful. But being out of will at that point, I got paralyzed. Taking off his horse, prone, all that nasty good jazz crap. And I'm just sitting there going, well, this is the way it ends. Thryden dies. You take the objective. Great. So I auto lost the fight in that second to last turn, and he failed to wound me. I was like, sweet. Because at that point, like I had said earlier, he had already taken a wound, and I was out of fate. So I was able to get out of paralyzed, surprisingly, in that one turn. My 6s rolled hot all the way up until the last turn, naturally. So last turn, I get priority, get a couple charges in, position Thryden in a way, because Gullivar's now over there threatening. Position Thryden in a way where he can't be threatened by Gullivar, which is important because I don't want Gullivar getting in there and completely tearing him apart. However, he was able to use his specters to do the Fell Light Within and unbubble wrap several of the guys around Thryden and then charge in 4 orcs. So he even charged in his banner, which, no VPs for banners, but still, that's kind of scary. Of course, it was the last turn. So he had 3 guys against Goroff. I threw him my 2 dice. I think he had priority at that point on the last turn. Yeah, he did, because he killed my banner first in order to take dice away from Thryden. I threw my 2 dice. I threw a 3 high, naturally, so it becomes a 2 with the shade popped. He throws his 3 dice. He rolls a 5 high. It's with the banner, naturally, so the banner's a 4. I was like, oh, look at that. Both of our -1 guys are winning/losing fights. He goes to wound. 3 5s. Thryden's dead. He only had 1 wound left anyway. And of course, since he's dead, the guy automatically picks up the jewel, the small object, and he broke me in that last turn. So it went from being a 6-1 victory for me, where I would have had him broken, been unbroken myself for 3, and then had the jewel, and I was able to move Thryden over into position. I think we're actually sitting right on the midline. I was sitting right on the midline, so neither of us would have gotten extra VPs. But I had the jewel, and he would have had 1 for wounding my leader. And that last turn, just everything went bad. So instead of being a 6-1 victory, it became a 6-1 defeat, where he took the jewel, broke me, killed my leader, and the only thing I achieved was breaking him. So we both got 1 for that. He got 2 for killing my leader. Didn't even get close to touching Gullivar. Gullivar, every time he threw his 4 or 5 dice, depending on if he charged or not, was rolling a hot 6. So there was nothing I could do against that except watch my guys get eaten, which is fair. That's kind of what you expect against Gullivar if you're not trying to beat him down with a hero. And I wasn't. I was just trying to kind of feed him and keep him away from my heroes so my heroes could do what they do. I would say Goroff was probably my man of the match. He did the most damage. I think I had 46 models, I believe. Mike had 41 or 42. 41, yeah, because I had to kill 21 to break him. I think Goroff killed about 8 on his own. Just those 3 attacks and then putting in an extra guy or 2 here or there. And then I would use a point of might. I think I used a point of might once to make sure I won the fight because I rolled a 5 and he rolled a 5 as well. And of course my 5 went down to a 4, so I mighted it back up. But yeah, Goroff was definitely my man of the match. Chump of the match was freaking Thryden. Can't do a damn thing. No surprise there. But I lost my first run to Mike. Literally swing of the pendulum, 6-1. But Mike was a great sport about it. I mean, we were both, throwing back a beer, even though it was morning, whatever. That's what you do at case gaming events. We were chilling. Like I said, we did a gentleman's agreement, no flyers on the objectives, which I almost broke because I misunderstood what he meant. And when he called me on, I was like, dude, you bitch. We agreed to this. And I'm like, my bad. I misinterpreted. I thought we weren't rushing it. because I actually flew one of my Crabine down to try and grab it. And he's like, "What happened? What did we say about flyers?" And I'm like, "I thought we weren't rushing it." He said, "No, no flyers at all." I was like, "Oh, okay, misinterpretation. My bad, my bad." But it was a fun game. I mean, Mike's a good opponent, and he's a cool guy. I mean, I really appreciated him being on the channel before, and also inviting Tracy and I to go up there. It was a lot of fun. So, looking forward to more games in the future, Mike, and more times hanging out. But moving on from here, round two, I played against John, one of like five of them that were there. Apparently, there were like 4 or 5 different Johns. So, John, I'm sorry, I don't remember your last name. Just shoot me. I wouldn't have remembered it anyway, even if you told me, because I'm terrible with names. That's just how I am. So John was playing fiefdoms, and y'all know how I feel about fiefdoms. I love fiefdoms. So because of my terrible loss, I was down on the bottom table playing with him. So I was like, you know what? I'm in no rush. I'm like not trying to kill. I'm not trying to like. There's no way I can like submarine from bottom table up to first. So let's just play some fun. So it was round two. It was the killing, one of the killing scenarios. I think that is pool 4. Yeah, kill the enemy scenario. Lords of Battle contest champions are to the death, and it was Lords of Battle. So we were playing on this really nice Osgiliath board, and I got a lot of photos rolling through here. Huge shout out to John Sigsby and Amanda. I think her last name's Copt, Koept. Amanda, I'm sorry, I'm saying your name wrong. But the two of them were taking photos the entire time. They got a lot of photos out there, and they were willing to share them. So the photos going through here, all kudos to them for doing that. All kudos to both of them for putting this event on yet again, because the two of them were tag teaming, the TOing and scorekeeping, and painting competition, and just everything. They were great. They were great hosts. They were great organizers. I mean, I can't say enough to say how well they did. But round two was Lords of Battle. I played against John, and so I was just like, you know what? We were playing on this nice Osgiliath board with this really cool 3D printed broken bridge right in the middle, and it was so well printed, like the scaling wise, that you could walk underneath the archways too wide with 25 millimeter bases, or get 140 mil cav in there. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So first turn, we deploy, and he kind of deploys forward, and I deploy back a little bit. Because I was thinking, I was like, all right, how can I get him to come towards me? Because I want to be able to trap him and pin him in against these bridges in this middle section. And I had this little piece of terrain on my side, like just far enough in that I could pin him in. And I'm sitting there going, you know what? I really don't feel like going crazy with this. Let's just suicide this and see what happens. So I go all out sprint at him. I get Goroff in, I get Frida in, I get Thryden in. I plug the archways that he's moving in on me at, and we just fight. So I think it was like the first turn we already had a combat going on. The second turn I did Warcry with a slew of heroic combats from the Wildman Oathmaker, all of my guys, all my heroes, the Wildman Oathmaker, Frida, Goroff, and Thryden, all called heroic combats, plus the comboing of Warcry, so +1 to wound. It was pretty cool. I think I got like a dozen kills in that one turn. Of course, Thryden did what Thryden does and absolutely freaking chumped it. 3 dice on the charge, and again he throws like a 4 freaking high against a one of the Clansmen of Lambden, who throws a natural freaking 6. And I'm like, are you serious, man? So this guy's gonna need 4s to wound my leader, and I'm like, I can't have that, especially because he was backed up by 2 Axemen. So 5s from them and 4 from the Clansmen. I'm like, oh, here we go again. Chump ass heroes. I hate leaders that are only 2 attack space. I really, really hate it. Again. So I'm just going to get into this now. I liked the Legendary Legion. There's a whole lot of fun to play. The Warcry is really cool. Hatred of Rohan never happened. There was, I think, like 1 Rohan player there, and I never matched up against him, obviously, in 3 rounds. So, whatever. Maybe in the future it could come into play, but I don't really see that. But Warcry was great. The 6-inch banner. 6-inch banners are great, too. Stuff like that. Amazing. Those are the 3 bonuses. The what do you call it? I just said them, and I can't remember. Dang it, man. War cry. There we go. War cry. Banners become 6 inches over over three, and then hatred of Rohan. There we go. I'm tired, guys. I'm sorry. It was a long weekend, like I said, with the crazy driving, and then I had to drive back, of course, and all. But that's not an excuse. Let's keep pushing on. But I don't think I really don't like to attack leaders. Now, some like Fenrir's Legion. Okay, that's just how it is. You know, and even that one, I think maybe he gets your buff. My opinion. So another buff that the army gets for our Dunland is that Thryden becomes a Valor, so he can lead 15. You know what? Take that back and just buff him to a third attack base. He's supposed to be this big baddie for the Dunland, and he's got 2 base attacks. Like, how disgusting is that? I mean, you have more 3 attack base heroes in Riders of Théoden than you do in this Legendary Legion. Riders of Théoden, you can take Durnhelm and Eowyn, or not Eowyn, wow, Durnhelm and Eomer, and you got 2 folks with 3 attacks. But this Legendary Legion, you've got Goroth, and that's it. And Thryden, who's supposed to be this big baddie, has 2 attacks. Yeah, I never put him up against a hero of my own free will. Never. I just knew he was incapable of taking on a hero. I just knew it. And that was proved once again in this second round because I roll in against a Clansman of Lambdon supported by 2 X-Men, and I roll a 5 high or a 4 high, and the damn Clansman throws a 6. And I banner one of his other 2 dice. I bannered a 1 to a 1 naturally a 1 to a 1. Surprise, surprise there. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just going suicide mode, burn the 2 points of might, get a kill. Of course, he rolls into the second, what is his name? Men at Arms with the pikes. And I'm pretty sure, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure I lost that one too. So, Thryden is a chump. I would very much be willing to give up the 3 extra guys he can take in a warband in order to get 3 attacks. So G-Dub, if you ever listen to this, that's what I want. And I'm pretty sure anybody else who plays the Army of Dunland would agree with me. But I know G-Dub's not going to listen to this. That's just my thought process on that. All right, so back to the round. Did all those heroics. And like I said, Thryden, of course, did what Thryden does and Botches did. But the other guys, they did some work. And I was in a position at one point where I was really working over his models. And I think, again, like I said, what did I say? I got 12 kills in that turn. 12, more than that. It had to be like 14 or 16. Like at least a dozen, a good dozen and a half almost, I want to say. Because my heroes, other than Thryden, each got 3 kills, which is great. Goroth was fighting under the bridge, and I killed one guy, and then used his heroic to whip him into 2 pike supports, being the men at arms, and killed those 2. And then Frida took out one guy on her own, and then moved into 2 more with a support and killed those 2 with the support's help. I'm pretty sure the support got one of the kills. And then the Wildman Oathmaker, I think he might have gotten 2 kills instead of 3. So I may be lying about that. And of course, like I said, I'm pretty sure Thryden screwed it all over. So, I mean, you're talking about at least almost 9 kills just with my heroes, if not more. And then my warriors did what they did. Yeah, I was down. The fight disadvantage really hurt me in this game. And again, like I said, you guys know how I love fiefdoms and their synergy. He maximized the synergy ability with the +1 fight vet. Well, not even the +1. I'm sorry, the 12-inch banner reroll from Immerhill. That did some great things for him. There were many times where I was like, yeah, I'm winning. I'm gonna get this. I got a 6, and he'd banner reroll and get a 6, and I'd be just like, nothing I can do about that, because I would be with a Huskarl, but outside of 3 inches from a hero. So it's like there's nothing you can do about that sometimes, because even with 4 heroes, the way the board was laid out, like I said, check out the photos. You'll see it did kind of bottleneck in a few places. And like I said, I purposely charged into the bottleneck. I just wanted to go have some fun and go kill some guys. So for Lords of Battle, you keep track of kills. At one point, I was well ahead, but then it switched and started going in his favor. My dice went cold, and his dice just went hot, and it was amazing how well he did. Um, Played pretty good. Didn't put Hill in any risky situations where I could potentially trap him with a heroic or just take him off his horse, because you need Hill on his mount in order to be able to really maximize his ability to move and get that 12-inch where you need to be. So, long story short, it was going good for me. Then I got broken. Bunch of guys fled because he charged up my heroes, and I couldn't pass a courage check to save my life. Of course, my Huskarl stuck around, but a lot of my other guys just gone, baby, gone. He tabled me. We'll just get to it. He tabled me. We were at the point where it was near the end of the game, and they came over and said, "Yeah, one last turn." And he's like, "Do you want to call it?" And I'm like, "Dude, come on, you got 2 more models to kill. Let's play this last turn." It's like, "Yeah, but I know I've already won." And he's like, "You got 2 models left." And I said, "Dude, come on, 12-0 me." He's like, 12-0. I was like, "Yeah." And he's also newer to the game. He's played in a few events, but not very many, and he hasn't been playing for a long time. I think he said he was kind of like me. He used to play a long time ago, put it away for a while. Now he's back into it, which is great. I always love hearing those stories. He's like, 12-0, what do you mean by that? I was like, if you table your opponent, it's 12-0. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the book. I don't know if it's in the match play guide, but I'm pretty sure it's in the rule book. He's like, I don't know. I've never seen that. I said, well, I'll tell you what. If you kill my 2 guys in this turn, I'll give you the 12-0. That's what I'm willing to do. That way maybe you can go ahead and get a good opponent next turn and have some fun and get a good win and maybe pull in 3rd place or something like that. He's like, well, okay. Because he wouldn't have doubled my score for kills. He would have broken me and been unbroken. Actually, no, I think I broke him. I think we were both broken. Yeah, we were both broken. So, I mean, it would have been like 7? Not even. Let's see. So 3, because he would have had more kills than me. He didn't double me. Because even though I had more models from the get-go, I didn't have twice the models that he did. Even with my flyers and heroes and stuff. Let's see what else. Because I broke his army, so I think he had 41 or 42 again, so I had to kill 21, and I killed 23. So even if he totally, he could have doubled me. 23 models, maybe. So we'll say he would have doubled me, which would have been 5. And then let's see what else. He had a lot less than double. I think he was down to like a 3rd. So yeah, he couldn't have doubled me. But we'll say he could, just for, this theory's sake. So that would have been 5. He wounded Thryden by that point, which would have been a point from wounding, which is 6. And then we're both broken, so 7. So it would have been 7-1. So by conceding and giving, not conceding, but saying, yeah, come on, table me, and letting him table me, it gave him an extra 5 points, which is good, I'm cool with that. At the end of the day, sometimes you got to let a new guy have some fun with him, give him a chance to go get some wins. Give him a chance to get up there. I was in no place, in no position to win anything, so what do I care? So 3rd round, I play against Evan. And I don't remember Evan's last name either. I know it starts with an A. But he was playing Moria Reclaimed, which I thought was the coolest damn thing, because nobody really plays Moria anymore, which in my opinion is a sham, because Moria is cool. But he had Ori, Flowey, Balin, and a King's Champ. And it was the final scenario. It was from the pool, I want to say 1? Yeah, pool 1. Maelstrom of Battle. So Heirloom's Aegis Pass, hold ground, or command the battlefield. And it was Heirloom's Aegis Pass. So I will say this, Evan's army was amazing. He converted every single one of his models, very much like Lee Ward did at the Great Battle of Ringo South on June 5th, a week ago, a little more than a week ago now, because Lee converted every single one of his Ministerial guys for his Amon Barad army, and Evan did the same thing here at Atlantic City Open for his airborne reclaim, and they were stunning. They were beautifully done. I mean, I can't speak high enough of them. And we did. We ended up talking and chit chatting for like 20 minutes before the game even started. I'm pretty sure the timer was going, and we were just like, yeah. But we deployed our tokens. Tokens. Deployed our tokens. Rolled to see where our armies came in. Our warbands. He had the little dwarven stone thrower. Excuse me again. He had the little dwarven stone thrower, and that had to come in first, so he ended up putting it on his board side. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I got to choose a position for all of his warbands but one, and that was Balin, who didn't even come in until turn 2, and then when Balin did come in turn 2, he rolled a 6, so he got to pick anywhere. So he got to pick the position of one of my warbands, and then I got to pick the rest of my positions, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I just set myself up where I could come in towards tokens until my last warband, which was Thryden that I rolled, and Thryden rolled a 6. And I just dropped Thryden, of course, right behind that stone thrower. So I was like, I'm sorry, this is a dick move, but I'm going to take that stone thrower away so you can't hurl my models around with it. He's like, that's cool, dude, that's cool. I mean, go for it. That's the whole point of the game. I mean, he was the most laid-back guy I've ever played. It was awesome. I mean, he got my vote for best sportsman. So, long story short, I moved in, checked 3 tokens in the first turn. Wildman Oathmaker picked it up. Luck, that's all it was, because, 6 tokens, you got a 1 in 6 chance of getting it. There's no real strategy or skill other than to try and get to him first and maybe slow your opponent from getting to him if you can, or tie him up, something of that nature. But I was able to get it, and then I just spent the rest of the game slowly whittling his army down. He dropped Balin's warband right on top of Thryden. I was like, cool. So Thryden and his boys ended up just going ahead and killing Balin's warband, except for Balin himself. Balin was able to kill Thryden. I just couldn't wound him. There's nothing I could do about it. Balin was too hard to beat. But he threw 2 dice and rolled a 6, and by that point, by the time I got Thryden into Balin, I had spent my might points in order to do heroic combats and heroic movements in order to make sure I killed the 3 crew to the stone thrower. Yes, he paid for 1 extra. And to make sure I wiped out the extra guys that were in Balin's warband. So it was a good game, like I said. We both broke each other. I never put the Wildman Oathmaker into combat, and he killed my leader. So, and then we both had a banner. So I got 6 for having the objective because I had it. We both got 1 for having a banner, so 6-1. And then he killed my leader, which I think is 2, I want to say. So 6-3. Or 7-3, I'm sorry. And then I broke him and was also broken because he broke me last turn. So it was 8-4. So it was a major victory in round 3. I kind of felt like a pansy, just hiding away with the objective the entire time. But it is what it is. I mean, let's play the game the way it goes. But like I said, Evan was the coolest opponent. He was the most laid back, most chill. We just talked for a good while, and then even after the game, we ended up talking for like a good 45 minutes too. And after all the awards and everything had been done, so yeah, that was that. Mike got best evil general, I want to say. So huge shout out from Mike. Again, like I said, Mike is the one that invited me to even come to the event. So it's great that he got that. And for some reason, this is the second event now I've gone to. I don't know why. I don't know what's up with you people and why you think this. But I got voted favorite opponent to play against, which is basically the equivalent of best sportsman. And I don't understand why you people think that. I'm not a good sportsman. I'm a dick. You know? You listen to this, you can hear I'm a dick. So, thanks, I guess. What else can I say? Uh, I'm glad folks had a good time playing against me in their 3 rounds. I had a great time playing in all 3 rounds. Honestly, I would give it to any of my 3 opponents over myself any day of the week, because any one of the 3 of them, in my opinion, were better sportsmen and more favorite than I was. But that's a good thing. That's what you want when you play the game. It's good to have a plethora of good players that are fun to play against. Not so much good on the table, but are just good as people and human beings. So that was my 3 rounds, my experience. Had a fun time. I am hoping to go back again next year if they do it again. It's just going to kind of maybe depend on Ringo South. I've had a lot of people asking me like, hey, when are you doing Great Battle of Carolinas again next year? When are you doing Ringo South again next year? So I don't know if I'll do Great Battle of Carolinas again. That was just kind of a, hey, we can do events, let's do events kind of thing to get it all kick-started for 2021. I don't know if I'll do that again, but I would like to do Ringo South. I have to talk to Dan and Joe, see if they're cool with letting me spearhead that again. Plus, I've got some other stuff that 2022 is going to bring that we're looking to try and do. So it's going to be a busy rest of 2021 as well as 2022. I know a lot of folks have been like, hey, when are you doing your next event? I'm not doing another one. I'm sorry, guys. I might do a small one, like just at my house or something, but I'm not going to be doing another big one like I have twice already this year. There's just a lot of folks that are trying to do events, and I don't want to step on any of their toes. And honestly, a lot of them have asked me for assistance, either with boards or, just come help TO or come help play. So that's always a great thing when the community is getting back together and getting open to back up. And that's really what I want to see. So thanks, guys, for following along with this. If you stuck through the whole, where are we at? Way too long. 42 minutes at this point. A lot of rambling, I know, but I think I did a pretty good job covering everything. Again, huge shout out to John and Amanda for what they did. Shout out to Frontline Gaming for putting the event on and giving us the space. That's the other thing. A lot of events don't give MESBG space. So thank you for giving us space. We had 10 tables. That was great. I think we had 18 people signed up, and I think they all showed up. Maybe not. No, I don't think that. I think we had 1 or 2 no-shows the day of, because I played on the bottom table round 2, and it was table 8 instead of table 9. So that's cool. 16 folks for the first time for an MESBG event at an open, at a big convention, even though it wasn't super big of a convention. It's only the one vendor. But I digress. It was good showing. I look forward to seeing it again next year, hopefully, and attending. So thanks, guys, once again for following along for another couple minutes while I ramble. Stay tuned for some stuff coming up. I plan on getting a nice series going on coming in soon. 19 episode series. I'm working on the script. I've got the script done for 5 of them, I believe. But yeah, 5 out of 19. Got a ways to go. And then also look for another trivia coming soon. I think I'm going to do my next trivia either the beginning of July or the end of July. It just depends on what folks want to do, because I got to hit up everybody who wants to take part in that. So, as always, guys, take care. Please like, share, subscribe, and enjoy Tolkien's Legendarium and all of its extremities.